Hello, my name is Peru, and I'm an Irrigation Agrologist with the Saskatchewan Ministry of Agriculture. Today I'll be talking about this adopt project I'm standing in front of here, which was seeded by ICDC this fall. So this project is going to demonstrate some different cover crop options that a producer can use to help hold down the soil after a harvest of crops such as potatoes or dry beans. During harvest of these high-value row crops, it leaves pretty much no organic matter left in the soil and also leaves the soil fairly fluffy and mellow. This makes the soil very prone to soil erosion and can cause producers to lose a lot of their topsoil if high winds occur. This year is very visual in spring, where we had those windy days and topsoil was blowing all over the place from land that didn't have enough biomass to keep it down. Land was blowing across all the major irrigation districts, and producers were losing a lot of topsoil because of this. So what this demonstration is aiming to do is to help show which cover crops can create the most biomass seeded in fall to help prevent that problem from occurring. Because the harvest window for potatoes and dry beans can be so wide, starting before September and all the way in October, we have two different seeding dates to try to make things a little more realistic. So the first seeding date for this project was seeded on September 4th, and the second was in the later of September, I think around September 27th. So that's going to be one aspect of this project, to see if that later seeding date can actually produce enough biomass to help hold down that soil. The 5 different cover crops that we're going to be looking at here include both winter annuals and spring annual cereal crops. So we're looking at winter triticale, fall rye, winter wheat, barley, and oats. And we're going to help evaluate which ones are able to produce the most biomass. We also have 2 separate blocks in this demonstration to show the effects of what these cover crops might have on different annual crops that follow the cover crops. So the 2 blocks are going to be seeded next year after the termination of the cover crop, and they include canola and wheat. There's potentially some idiopathic effects with crops such as rye that could affect the yield of canola and wheat. So if that is the case, we want to be able to capture that and show that to producers for this demonstration. So what we're going to be measuring for the cover crops is how much biomass is actually produced from the 5 different crops on the 2 seeding dates. This is going to be done just by taking a weighted sample before winter. We've also been using drones for aerial imagery, along with using some satellite imagery to help show how much biomass is being grown on these plots. Also, as I mentioned, we're seeding 2 different annual crops after the termination, and we're going to be measuring yields of those annual crops too, to see how they perform in comparison to each other following the different types of cover crops. This is a very important project in my opinion, as some of the irrigators that I've spoken to are even worried to grow high-value potatoes on their land because of the potential for them to lose their topsoil. And there's been a lot of irrigators that have been trying different methods to try to keep their topsoil down after the destructive process of a potato harvest. For example, this year, an irrigator that I know of actually flew in wheat seed prior to potato harvest, and then during the harvest process, it helped incorporate the seed into the ground. And then because the water was still available in September, the land was irrigated, and the cover crop was able to germinate after that. And I've been out to that field, and it's actually looking pretty good in terms of the amount of biomass that it's generating. So what this project's hoping to do is just to figure out which of these different cover crops are going to perform the best, which can grow the most vigorously, and how late they can be seeded to help generate that biomass to hold down the soil. Wheat and canola, which are typically in crop rotation after dry bean or potato, will be harvested, and then yields will be used to contribute to the results of this project. So stay tuned for the results of this project next year, and there will be updates on what the biomass yields are on our social media, so stay tuned for that. If you have any questions about growing cover crops to help prevent soil erosion on irrigated land, feel free to contact myself, and my contact information will be in the credits of this video. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.